Looking rich is the fastest way to stay broke. Yeah, I said it. Because most people aren't trying to build wealth, they're trying to look like they already have it. And that's exactly why they never will. We live in a world where image is everything. Scroll through social media and you'll see luxury cars, designer clothes, expensive dinners. But here's the truth no one wants to admit. Most of it is fake. Leased cars, credit card debt, money they don't have, spent to impress people they don't even like. That's not wealth, it's performance. People don't flex because they're rich, they flex because they're insecure. Think about it. If you really have money, why would you need validation from strangers? Real wealth gives you confidence. Fake wealth needs attention. That's why the loudest people in the room are usually the ones with the least to show. And here's where it gets dangerous. The moment you start chasing the image, you stop building the reality. Instead of investing, you're spending. Instead of learning, you're showing off. Instead of growing, you're pretending. And slowly you build a lifestyle you can't afford. Now you're trapped, working just to maintain an illusion. No one talks about this, but real wealth is actually boring. It's discipline, it's patience, it's saying no when everyone else is saying yes. It's investing money instead of spending it, building skills instead of buying status. There's no applause for that, no likes, no attention, just progress. Real money moves in silence. You won't always see it, you won't always recognize it, because people who actually have wealth don't need to prove it. Meanwhile, fake wealth is loud, it screams, it flashes, it begs to be noticed, but it fades just as fast. So here's the shift you need to make. Stop asking, how do I look rich? Start asking, how do I become rich? Stop buying things to impress people. Start building things that create value. Because at the end of the day, image doesn't pay your bills. Assets do. The goal isn't a watch. It isn't a car. It isn't designer clothes. The goal is freedom. Freedom to wake up when you want. Freedom to work on what matters to you. Freedom to live life on your terms. And you don't get that by looking rich. You get that by being smart, disciplined, and patient. So stop trying to impress people who don't care, because the same people you're trying to impress won't save you when you're broke. Build your life, not your image. Because in the end, one makes you look rich, and the other makes you free. Looking rich is the fastest way to stay broke, and most people don't even realize they're stuck in that loop. Because today, people don't chase wealth, they chase the image of wealth. Scroll through social media and it looks like everyone is winning. Nice cars, designer clothes, expensive trips, perfect lifestyles. But what you don't see is what's behind it. Credit card debt, leased cars, stress, and a constant need to keep up appearances. A lot of people aren't rich, they just look rich. And that's the problem. Because when your focus shifts to how things look instead of how they actually are, you start making decisions that destroy your future. You spend money to impress people who don't care. You buy things you don't need just to feel like you've made it. You trade long-term freedom for short-term attention. And slowly, without even noticing, you build a life you can't afford. Now you're stuck working just to maintain an illusion, not to grow, not to invest, not to move forward, just to keep the image alive. Real wealth doesn't work like that. Real wealth is quiet. It doesn't need to be shown off. It doesn't depend on validation. When you actually have money, you don't feel the need to prove it to strangers. That's why fake wealth is loud. It has to be. It needs attention to survive. Real wealth doesn't. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Building real wealth is boring. It's discipline, it's patience, it's consistency. It's making the right decision over and over again, even when nobody's watching. It's saying no when everyone else is saying yes. It's investing when it feels easier to spend. It's learning when it would be more fun to show off. There's no applause for that, no instant reward, no viral moment, just slow progress. And that's the part most people can't handle, because we've been trained to expect everything fast. Fast money, fast success, fast results. But real wealth takes time. It's built in small steps, daily choices that don't look impressive in the moment, but change everything over time. You skip unnecessary purchases. You invest what you can. You focus on building skills. You stay consistent even when it feels like nothing is happening. And for a while, it feels like you're falling behind, like everyone else is ahead of you. But they're not. They're just louder. Because one day, it starts to shift. The habits you built become your advantage. The patience you practiced becomes your leverage. The money you didn't waste starts working for you. And suddenly, you're not trying to look successful anymore. You actually are. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need attention. You don't need validation. Because what you've built is real. So the next time you feel the pressure to look rich, stop and ask yourself, is this helping me build my future, or am I just trying to impress someone for a moment? Because one of those choices moves you forward, the other keeps you stuck. Stop chasing the image. Start building the reality. Focus on assets, not appearances. Focus on growth, not attention. Focus on freedom, not approval. Because at the end of the day, your lifestyle isn't defined by what you show. It's defined by what you own, what you control, and how much freedom you actually have. And that's the real goal. Not the car, not the watch, not the clothes. Freedom. Freedom to live on your terms. Freedom to choose how you spend your time. Freedom to walk away from things that don't serve you. Looking rich might get attention, but being free changes your life.
If you look rich, it doesn't mean you are rich. Sometimes it means the opposite. Real wealthy people don't try to look rich. They don't need to prove anything. But people who constantly flex are usually trying to prove something, not to others, to themselves. A financed car, last money spent on designer clothes, and nothing left in the bank. That's not wealth. That's a mask. Real money is quiet. It doesn't need attention. Poverty isn't about having no money. It's about needing to show what you don't have. So next time you try to impress someone, ask yourself why. Because real level is when you don't need to prove anything. Bills don't care how you look, but assets do. The goal isn't a watch. The goal isn't a car. The goal isn't designer clothes. The goal is freedom. Freedom to wake up when you want. Freedom to work on what you want. Freedom to live life on your terms. You don't get that from looking rich. You get that from being smart, disciplined, and patient. Here's the truth nobody wants to hear. Most people don't want to be rich. They want to look rich. They want attention, validation, illusion. But illusion is expensive. Every fake flex costs you real freedom. That outfit costs. If you look rich, it doesn't mean you are rich. Real wealth is quiet. It doesn't need attention. Stop trying to impress people who don't care.